Welcome to the Going North podcast, a podcast where you will be inspired to join the business of immortality known as authorship. I'm your host, certified self-leadership trainer, member of the Maxwell Leadership Team, and best-selling author of the book, Stay the Course, Dominic Dom Brightman, and you're going to be getting some tips and techniques to advance yourself coming up next. And today on the Going North podcast, we got another super special, awesome human for you today, my friends. That's right, indeed. Another super special, awesome human, courtesy of my good buddy, Miss Catherine Sickley Stevens, aka hashtag the best meow on earth, all the way from the evolutionary business counts, because she's one heck of a super special, awesome human. Because my goodness, like one of those rare occasions where it's like, oh, we get on a discovery call, and it's like, oh, yeah, it's probably like half an hour. The next thing you know, it's feels like half a day because we talk for 2 hours and then we talk for another whole almost 90 minutes before I press the record button again because she's so freaking fabulous indeed. So let me tell you a little bit about who you're going to be hearing from, because today's featured bookcaster is going to be a host to host special, folks, because she's a show host and a best-selling author who is a grandmother, wife, speaker, and award-winning eco-entrepreneur. You heard that right, folks. An eco-entrepreneur who has won some awards, baby. That's right, indeed, as well as a powerful voice for nature. So let's give it up for Miss DM herself, the delightful and the magical Donna Maltz. How you doing today, Mama Donna?
Oh, baby. I am doing so great because I am here with you. And I thought I was positive, but when I met you, I knew we were a double dose and a duo. And I am so grateful to be here with you today. Thank you for that great introduction and for having me here to share some beautiful wisdom from a senior citizen. I love it how you call me an elder, man. I love that. So I am here. I am here to just shine on and bring some love to your people out there and inspire and encourage everybody to live like the future matters. So let me just say that being here with you just makes my day and encourages me to just be the best version of myself, which I'm here to encourage each and every one of you to listen, who are listening to this incredible show from this incredible man that opens his heart up to so many people. Let's give it up for Dom. Yeah, I hear you all screaming in the background. Yay, Dom. Yay. Woo, woo, woo. And actually, you heard that right. I am a show host. And I am going to be having the great privilege to interview this man. And I'm not going to say the date because you'll have to listen to the replay anyway, because this comes on later on the air. But in a few weeks from this day, this beautiful man will be on A Dose of Positivity. That's right, on Mama Donna's show, A Dose of Positivity. Looking forward to it. So Dom, tell me, what would you like me to share with your audience?
Oh yeah, shoot, sharing a lot. My goodness, heck, you actually have one of my favorite taglines ever that I'm going to be aspiring to is why retire when I can inspire. Like that's what I'm talking about. Like what led to that wonderful tagline? 'Cause usually start with the backstory, but like that one, it's like that's something to shoot for right there. Because a lot of folks sometimes get halfway through life and they forget their why, and it's like, hey, you can still inspire while you're still here.
That's so right on. I'm glad you started with the backstory. And yeah, why retire when I can inspire? I've been kind of semi-retired actually for almost 10 years. And so during that time, I wrote and published 3 books. I'd already had 1 kid's book out. And I realized too, while I was writing that, it was like, who am I? What do I love to do? What's my purposeful why? And I think out of that came why retire when I can inspire. Somewhere in there, 10 years ago, when I was questioning myself, what I'm doing and why. Why? Because I've done some amazing things with my life, and why should I hold them and hoard them to myself just because I'm retired? When I can teach people how to live in harmony with the systems and cycles of nature, when I can be a voice for nature, when I can teach people about living from the soil to the soul and what it means to be not just an entrepreneur, but to be an eco-entrepreneur. Why retire when I can inspire people that the distribution of wealth must change and that inequality is shame? Why would I retire when there are things that I can teach people to be more loving, more compassionate, to live with honor and integrity? Why would I retire? Why would I retire when so many are hurting and don't have the opportunity and access to wisdom when I can donate my books? I've given away thousands of my ebooks. Why would I hold on to this knowledge of how to co-create and collaborate rather than to compete and be arrogant? Why would I retire when I'm still body abled and have the privileges that I do? Why retire? Why play golf and knit? And not that those things may be bad if the listeners listening to that. You know, you can play golf, but you don't have to retire from helping make the world a better place. You can knit a sweater for someone who needs one. So why retire when anybody, any of us who are body able and who have a heart and a purpose to make the world better for future generations? So in my book, Living Like the Future Matters, I tell my story and all the things that I did and all the things that were done to me and all the things I did to myself and all the things that I be and I am. But I did it in such a way that it was about you, the reader, to look and reflect at your life, how you can be all you can be, no matter what social economic bracket you're in, no matter what happened to you, whether it be horrific or too good to be true. We're here right now. Bad things happen to good people and good things happen to bad people. And every day is a new day. It's a new beginning. And when we live like the future matters and we think of everything from the soil to the soul, why would we retire? Why would I retire when I can teach people to compost what doesn't serve them and to nourish what does? And one of the things, you know, you're not jumping in, so I guess I'll keep talking. It's kind of cool being on a podcast because my shows are live and it's very visual. And I see your facial expressions. You see mine because we're on Zoom, and it's beautiful, people. If you could, I wish you could all see us. We love each other, me and Dom. We could be on we could talk all day, right?
That's for sure.
There's that laugh, people. That's the laugh we wait for all day on the show. All time we're on. I love it. It's a contagious thing, but you know, I know a lot of the listeners who are listening to this, when you hear him laugh, man, it pierces your soul with just like, it's like candy, man, in a good way, you know, you can't get enough of it. But this is what I'm kind of leading to right now too. You know, it's like, why aren't we addicted to laughter and love and light? And we're addicted to crime and news and ugly thoughts and wearing a lot of makeup and driving cars we can't afford. And why are we addicted to the wrong things? Too much sugar, alcohol, drugs. Who told us we can't be addicted to laughter? Healthy habits. And so that's kind of what I write about, the addiction to the American dream, the unsustainable American dream, how it creates personal addictions, whether it's porn or gambling, snorting it up the nose, shooting it up the veins, eating a whole box of Oreos every day. Well, I guess
Oh, not a whole box.
I have done that. But you know what I mean? Too much of a good thing. It's a bad thing with too much laughter. So but that puts everything that kind of we're saying in perspective, is being sensitive and tuned. But laughter is the greatest medicine. We do have some etiquette. We got to be careful showing up at the wrong time in the wrong place. But laughter is just one of those things that we have lost. I mean, and since like when we're children, we tickle each other and we giggle and we laugh, and then life happens, and it kind of has robbed so many people of that cheerfulness. And I want to be really honest. I do laugh, and I hang around with people who laugh. I don't laugh maybe as much as I was when I was a child, because I'm not as ticklish as I was, Dom. I'm just not as ticklish. But I love to laugh. I love to watch a good comedy, and I have all these wrinkles on my face for a reason. They're my smile lines. And yeah, you listen to things in nature, and sometimes I'll be out in nature, and I hear the laughter and the wind rustling against the leaves, and the mating calls of the birds. Could you hear that? Did you hear that bird? I don't know.
Very faint, but I've heard it. It was very faint.
That was amazing, though. I'm telling you, that was energy. Because it's the middle of the day, the birds don't usually whistle. And as soon as I said that, the bird tuned in. I'm telling you, I am a voice for nature. That confirms it. Right there. But yeah, the other day I was interviewing Alan Cohen. I don't know if you guys heard Alan Cohen. He's amazing. He's written a bunch of books. He's a spiritual light healer. And we were talking about dogs and just animal behavior in general, and just working with their instincts, right? Where have our instincts and that intelligence of intuition gone? And as soon as we said the dogs, blah, 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 my dog started barking, and then they settled down. They said, right on, Alan, right on. It was so cool. And as soon as I said something about the birds, they came in. So there's this connection that we are lacking, right, as a species, forgetting that we're animals. We are
If I'm not
animals.
mistaken, you've probably been this way your whole life, right? With the love for animals and the love for nature.
Yeah, I have. I wish you guys could see this beautiful red cardinal on this palm tree. You guys, I'm on the big island of Hawaii, and it is gorgeous here. I hope you'll come visit me someday. But I have and I have some stories in my book about this too. My grandmother, who just had lived through the Great Depression, World War II, and Jewish, had pretty much shot her nerves and everything, and she found sanctuary in nature. And my grandma and my grandpa lived in New York City, and they had a home in the country, upstate New York, and we would go visit them on the weekends. And my parents were always trying to go to the city, to watch concerts and theater and opera. And all I wanted to do was go to the country. And my grandfather built my grandmother birdhouses, and the more birdhouses he built her, the more birds there were, and the happier she would be. She wouldn't get depressed with the sounds of the birds and her nerves, and it calmed her down, and we would feed the birds. It was really beautiful. And I just, I'll never forget her wisdom telling me to be a voice for nature. Listen, this is what you want to listen to. You don't want to listen to horns honking, right? Don't pay attention to nature. And so I was just a little girl, not even 2 digits old yet. I was 5, 6, 7, 8. Then when I was about 12, they sold it, and it was very sad. But yeah, I love that. And then I really, really got totally freaking blown out when I was about 12 years old, and across the street that used to be my woods where I lived in Closter, New Jersey, they plowed every last tree, and all my tree forts and all the nests and dens. It was like my sanctuary. growing up, ever since grandmother instilled that in me. I would go home. I didn't like skateboarding nearly as much as I did climbing trees in the woods. And when that happened, that was a really shocker to me, when I saw them literally, as Joni Mitchell says, pave paradise, put up a parking lot, and they put up a subdivision and big, huge houses and yards with all these ornamental plants from another country, nothing indigenous to the neighborhood, and didn't attract the same birds. And I had to ride my bike all around to find my woodpecker friends. And, that was from a very early age. I got instilled in realizing and seeing what happens. And people do have to live places, but they don't need to live outside the systems and cycles of nature. They don't need to plow the whole thing down, the grandmother trees. You work within it, and you don't have to cut all the trees so you can plant strangers in a strange land. You incorporate them, and you have the diversity and the biodiversity, and you live in harmony. Yeah, and then when I was 5, this beautiful African-American woman moved in. My mom was sick, dying of cancer at a really young age. Her name was Mother Dear, and this story's in my book, and encourage you all to read it. If you need an ebook for free, I'm all about it. Just give Dom your email, I'll send you one. If you want to buy one, they're on Amazon. But Mother Dear was a person in my life who changed everything for me. She came from the South. I was with her when down the laundry room when Martin Luther King was assassinated. I didn't know about bigotry or anything. I was sheltered. My parents were not, they were sheltering me, but they had no tolerance for bigotry or anything. And she and I, when she just, the iron fell to the floor, everything, she just dropped to the ground and wept. And I was helpless. This is somebody I loved. I followed her everywhere. Matter of fact, the week before she moved in, after she moved in, you're 5, and you're like, I hate you. I hate Mary Beth. I hate liver. I used to hate everything when I was 5, because that's what you do when you're 5. Not everything, but just getting familiar with the word, meaning I don't like that. I don't want to eat that, mommy. I hate that. Yeah, so but I had no tolerance for that. And so one day she just took me by the arm and she said, just like this, she said, Sha, you may not like somebody, but you have got to love them. There's so much hatred in this world, there ain't room for no more. Those words just went through my veins like someone would take heroin, I guess, but in a good way. And they stayed in me. And so you asked me where I found my love for nature and how I was born with this love. My grandmother turned me on to the love of nature, and Mother Dear turned me on to just pure love. And her love for Martin Luther King in the past, of all of that and everything that she had, was trying to escape, from the South and everything, she was around a lot of Ku Klux Klan stuff. But I didn't know all that until I got a little older. She didn't tell me all that till later. But man, that my house became the haven for all the kids in the neighborhood. We eat fried chicken and collard greens and pig knuckles, and we learned to be soulful. We learned to be loving, and I'm friends with some of those kids today, and I'm 65, and they were all 5, 6, 7, 8 years old. And they went on to be lovers of life. Why retire when you can inspire, Dom? So Mother Dear was like, she passed away a few years ago, and I was with her, and that's another story for another day. But she is so alive in me, obviously. Why retire someone else's wisdom? That's what I say. Why not spread? You don't have to be the president of the United States or Oprah Winfrey or Joe Cocker, or I don't care who you idolize, who you idol. It can just be someone as special as Mother Dear or my grandmother, you don't even know, or you wouldn't know. Your mother's laughter will go on. You keep telling that story. Why retire when you can inspire, Dom? So we want to keep laughing and learning and loving and embracing the hard times with a different attitude, because there will be hard times. There will be challenges. There will be people who try and bring us down. There will be really times when you feel so broken and so alone and crippled by humanity. And I'm here to say, who told you you can't be resistant? Who told you you can't strengthen your roots and endure that and learn from it and become stronger and better and more, have more empathy? Who told you that it's not right to feel wrong? Who told you it's not right to make a mistake? Who told you it's right to be an a-hole, to get where you need to go, to climb the corporate ladder, be the best on the team? And, you know, we have to look at what's going on around us and where we're learning these things. And I know, Dom, you work in a library, which is one of the best services we have left in our country. You know, the freedom to read, the freedom to write, the freedom to learn and educate ourselves. We have a choice to pick up this book or that book. We have a choice to turn on this station or that station. You have a choice to listen to Dom's show or some right-wing fundamentalist Christian who's teaching you to hate anyone who's not the same race. You have a choice to love or hate. You have a choice to look at a death in the family as a tragedy or an opportunity to set that spirit free. Sure, it's a choice to grieve, but do you want to grieve the rest of your life, or do you want to invite that spirit into your veins like Mother Dear runs through mine? These are choices that I live every day when I say to people, live like the future matters. If you make every choice like this choice means I'm living like the future matters. This choice that I'm making to drink out of this rather than a plastic bottle or a soda, buying from a corporation that is putting toxins in your body in a plastic bottle, or a green smoothie that you make from local greens from the market and you're supporting the local farmer. That's what's in here. Cucumbers, celery, a power drink, parsley, arugula, some ice, some water. It's a choice I make. Keeps me vibrant. I don't have very many gray hairs either. And I'm 65. And I got more energy than I know what to do with. So why retire when I can inspire, Dawn? When I can teach people to live like the future matters, to make good choices, to care about the Pachamama, the mother of all creations, the Mother Earth, to be a voice for nature, to realize it's not mankind or humankind that made the earth, it's life kind that we are a part of. We are part of the four-legged friends and the ones without vertebrae. And what do? We annihilate things like the ant. Do you know, I forget the statistics, so I don't want anybody on this who's listening to this to quote me on this, but I think it's 10 times, ants are 10 times the weight of all the humans put together. If you put all the ants together, you know, the earth will recover from all this human devastation and the ants, and it'll be the ants and the cockroaches and the rats, the ones that we exterminate, that we look down upon, like we look down upon different people, different classes, different people that are lower than us. How sickening is that? Nature, it's called eco-genocide, right? And I can say this, I'm Jewish, I had people, 6 million Jews. It wasn't just Jews who were put in the gas chamber. It was anybody who, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole right now, but you guys can do your own research on that. We need to, as a people, start appreciating and respecting the systems and cycles of nature. All women used to get their periods on the moon when they, on my moon, because they were on track with the moon cycle, right? That's why I'm on my moon. Now, the younger generation doesn't even know that, but our bodies used to be much more in tune with that. We used to go to bed when it was dark. We didn't rely on fossil fuels to keep us up at night. We didn't rely on fossil fuels that are the reason for much of the climate crisis that we're in. And we're addicted, getting back to addicted. We're addicted to something that is unsustainable, that has created an American dream that's become a nightmare. And anytime you dig up a grave, you get haunted. Well, we're digging up the graves of plants and animals and even some dinosaur remains to live not like the future matters. And there's things we can do. I mean, we're climbing up to 8 billion people. And if just half those billions of people would change their ways, 3-4 billion people, and we distributed the wealth so everybody was comfortable. Everybody had knowledge of birth control and the means to keep our population. I mean, look what the animals do, right? Die with dignity. Why do we have to live on 10, 20 meds? I don't want to live on 10 or 20 meds. You won't find me doing that. I want to die with dignity because I know it's just my body. It's the temple of my soul and my spirit, like Mother Dearest and all those, including my mother and my father and all those before me who have left an imprint, a footprint, a spiritual footprint on me. Their legacy lives on. Their stories live on. But no, not in America, not in the Eastern culture. No. You keep people alive at all costs. There's these multinational corporations that are controlling our food system, our agricultural system, our pharmaceutical system. This cartel is sickening. Why retire when I can inspire and teach people about that in my books and when I speak? We need to break the cartel. We need to take responsibility for our own health. We need to start healing one plot of soil at a time. We have 60 years of arable soil, plantable soil left. I don't want to eat food made in a laboratory. I'm sorry. It's really important for all of us to realize that one bite at a time, one choice at a time, we can live like the future matters.
Well, speaking of food and living like the future matters, if that wonderful book of yours, if it was a food, what would it be and why?
Wait, say that one question again. That was a good question.
Yeah.
I want to digest it.
Pun intended, right?
Pun intended, baby. What is the question?
Yeah, so the question, your memoir, Living Like the Future Matters, if it was a food, what would it be and why?
Oh, people ask me what my favorite color is, and I say rainbow. So what would my favorite food be? It would be a rainbow of locally produced food and knowing the hands that produced it and eating it with others who I love.
It's a pot of gold.
Yeah, well, it could be stone soup too, you could bring along something and throw it in the pot. But I mean, that's what food is. It's cultural. It brings people together. And it's so funny you said, that whole thing about food too, because my whole career, my whole life has been food. I had a natural foods, organic, first natural foods restaurant and bakery and cafe serving organic and local food in the state of Alaska, where I started when I was 25 in 1982. And then I went on to produce the first organic cocoa and chocolate syrup in the nation under the brand Alaska. And maybe some of your listeners have heard of that or been to my restaurant. Even a lot of people went to my restaurant 37 years. A lot of people went to my restaurant. It was great. And I had a very diverse menu, but everything was based around local and organic and food for people and the planet, which was the motto right on the front of our menu. We serve food for people and the planet with love, with peace and love. That's what it would be, Dawn. How's that for an answer? Pot of gold.
That's a fun answer indeed. It's a fun answer indeed. Well, in the interest of time, I know you got another call you got to hop on, so I'll just go ahead and pop the usual question on you. So, if you're to wake up tomorrow and you were 25 again, but you're still in 2022 with all of your knowledge and experience, what advice would you give to yourself?
Hmm. That's such a great thing. And kind of like it's that why retire when I can inspire. I mean, I mentor a lot of youth and I teach a lot of young, especially women, but more men now too, who are in their 20s and 25. And so, I just was having a talk with one of my Hanai, Meredith, who you met, who's 22, going to be 25 soon enough. But, we had this whole talk about drugs and alcohol and all of that stuff. And so I would have that talk with myself too. Plant medicine, use it as medicine, not as recreation. And same thing with any kind of substance and food and overindulging, other than laughter, except not laughing at the wrong time. You end up in prison if you laugh at the wrong thing. Even overindulge in that, right? But you want to do it, and things more in moderation, but do it all. Kind of experience it. I would tell myself, but by the time I was 25, it was like I really had my act together when I was 25, and I'm pretty much a very similar, same person. But the only thing I would tell myself for sure was do not burn out. Do not work too much, Donna. Make sure you go get enough sleep, Donna. Don't eat a whole box of cookies. Donna, moderation. But sleeping and, I worked too much when I was 25. I started my restaurant when I was 25. I was working 7 days a week, 10, 15 hours a day, no shit. And I loved every minute of it. But I did that for 10 years and that was too much. So at 25, I wish I had someone there to tell me what I just told myself now and to make sure I was accountable for it and to eat right, sleep enough, love myself more. And that it's okay to love yourself, because if you don't love yourself, how can anybody else love you? And self-love and self-worth and self-care is hugely important, Donna. That's me. I'm talking to myself at 25. It's not about being vain. It's about care. Because when you care for yourself, Donna, you can care for everyone else. Yeah, that's what I do. Oh, I hope that answered that question. And if there's any more you have for me, I have time or always have time for you. But Dom, you're a knight in shining armor. You're awesome. I would tell you too, those same things I just told myself, because I know you are such a healer and such a giver and such a lover and a treasure to behold. So I want to make sure you keep loving all those kids and bringing them into the library and doing all the good work that you're doing and receive all the goodness and graciousness that you deserve, because we all who are bringing love and light into the world, we need that love and light right back at us, right?
Oh yeah, that's right indeed. Each eco entrepreneur swag indeed, making sure it's self-sustainable, right? Metaphorically speaking in this case.
Right, yes, right, that's right. We didn't even get into that. We'll have to do this again sometime, but being an eco entrepreneur is over the top awesome. And all that means is that take let me end with this quote, okay? Since the Ice Age, businesses change the world faster than anything. And it's ethical businesses and business leaders with the moral courage that have the ability and the responsibility to change things the fastest. So if whether you're an author listening to this, or you're someone who has a business idea, or you're someone who's in the corporate world and you can't stand your job, you get a hold of me. Being an entrepreneur rocks, or being in service like you're doing, Dawn, rocks. You're kind of like your own boss there. The library, creating programs for these young kids, hugely necessary. You got an idea, you got a great thing. Entrepreneurs always make them better, but eco entrepreneurs, that should be their goal, to make them better. Eco entrepreneurs always make them better, but they don't make it better for themselves or the bottom line. The bottom line that they make it better for is future generations, living like the future matters entrepreneurs. So rock the world, laugh more, find your passion, your self-worth, your self-love, take care of yourself. Read my books if you feel like it, or get in touch. I'd love to hear from you. And Dom, as always, you guys who are listening, I hope you'll all come on the show when I interview Dom, because he's going to tell his story next.
Thanks a bunch for tuning in and setting aside some of your time to listen to this wonderful podcast, Going North. If you really enjoyed what you heard, do me a solid and share this with your network and someone that you care about that would get something out of it too. And be sure to subscribe to hear more, and heck, even check out the backlog if you would like, because there are hundreds of episodes to choose from, and they just keep getting better and not butter.